Hey everybody, welcome to TPIM SR Live. I'm your host, TruePowerIsMine. I have Mr. Clyde Scott of Rising S Bunkers out of Texas. I'm not familiar with city exactly, but I know he's out of Texas. This man's a patriot. He's a Christian. He loves family, country, and it's an honor for us to have a few moments to talk about bunkers. And in this time, as the Bible seals are being broken, it's now more important. Now is the time to prepare. Not tomorrow, but today. Clyde, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Thank you, sir. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Your company started 17 years ago.
Yeah, right at 18 years ago now.
Okay. Now, what was the motivation, sir, for you to decide to do this?
Well, I didn't start out building bunkers. We started out just as a metal fabrication facility, and we were building steel storm shelters. And just through product evolution and customer requests, we came to find out that, a shelter that we had built was really an underground bunker. And we had never even thought of the concept, prior to that. So we built that shelter. And then a family member of that person bought the second one. We thought, well, let's start marketing these and see if there's a market for them. And sure enough, lo and behold, there was.
What a blessing. Now I live up here in Missouri. This is about 45 minutes south of St. Louis. So my dirt here is really clay, and I also probably be a little acidity. Now, would one of your bunkers be appropriate in my area, or would it be more like for the sandy dirts of California and in Texas and regions like that?
They'll literally will work anywhere. We use a proprietary coating that we obtain through military contracts. It works well in acidic soils as well as soils with low pH levels. There are a few things that we do differently for different areas that we're going into.
Mm-hmm.
But to say that you can't get one in a certain area because of the soil would be not accurate.
Good deal. Good. So we're good to go up here in Missouri and like the Midwest, Iowa, Illinois, and Kansas. Obviously, we're still good to go because that was my. See, a lot of people where I live at were preppers. We have belief in Constitution, God, and country. And we have seen with this coronavirus catastrophe just how inept our government is to protect us. When the pedal hits the metal, Clyde, you better not look for law enforcement or anybody else to be there for you. That's why I think your product right now is tremendously important, not just for our personal protection, but dare I say for the protection of our nation.
Absolutely. And it's not just, that's the thing. And usually it's, hey, a couple of years ago, Venezuela was in bad shape.
Mm-hmm.
A few years before that, it was Greece. Or Iran's in bad shape, or we're dealing with something in Iraq, or there's something going on with Brexit.
Yes.
The thing about this COVID deal is it's global.
You can't hide.
You can't hide from it. Well, actually, you can hide from it. Insert website here. But no, seriously. I mean, I've had somebody ask me, how does your bunker help you, isolate yourself from say COVID-19? And my answer to that is a question. It's where else could you possibly be more isolated than underground in a shelter hidden away with an NBC air filtration system?
Mm. Could you talk about that air filtration system for, the people who don't know? Because we got a lot of older listeners.
NBC means nuclear, biological, and chemical.
Mm.
COVID-19 is biological, whether it's man-made or, whether it was came as a biological weapon, or if it was, really came from, bad bat meat or something, I don't know. That's for, that's for a whole different story or a show, I guess. But the biological portion is a actual molecule. The smallest smallest molecule we have to deal with or have to have as a threat thus far in society is anthrax.
Yes.
Anthrax is 0.012 microns or 120 nanometers. That's incredibly small. You have to have a microscope to see it. Our filtration systems are designed to catch things as small as anthrax and larger, which means they'll catch the COVID-19 virus.
Yes.
And filter it out.
And save lives, which we're quite literally.
We use the same filters that they use in medical laboratories.
So when I'm assuming these filters are easily changeable, or to swap out, is that process difficult or easy for the average American?
It's not what you're going to want to do. It's like an AC filter in your house. As long as it is and it isn't. An AC filter, if you don't change it, there could be long-term bad effects with getting your AC coils getting dirt in them, and having to get your coils cleaned. But there's not a coil or anything like that in an NBC system. Basically, you got just air just drawn through a set of filters and exited. So as long as there's air blowing out of this system, you leave it alone. The last thing you want to do is go taking it off, change your filter and get everybody sick from this COVID. So you just you stay in your shelter and you stay in place, and these things will last even in dusty environments. These filters will last year and a half, 2 years.
Wow.
Running continuously.
So when we're looking at the process of a bunker, do we have to take terrain into effect? Like myself, I live on a hill. Okay. Probably 45-degree angle. It's really steep. Would a place like this be appropriate for that?
If there's a house there?
Yes, I got a house.
Let's just say this. Let me start with this. If there's a home there, we can put a bunker there.
Wow.
In other words, if it wasn't too steep or too treacherous to build an above ground structure, then it won't be for a below ground structure. Now that being said, I have had clients. We've put them in the Sierra Nevada mountains. I've put them in the Appalachians. I've put them in a lot of places that were pretty treacherous, but you weren't going to build a house at. But we worked through it. They're just the answer is always yes. But it's my job to figure out how, and your job to pay for it. Obviously, farmland in Kansas where it's good and flat and sandy soil is going to be cheaper to install the same exact shelter as it would be, say, in the Sierra Nevadas or the Rockies on a hillside or a steep slope where I'm having to hammer through rock.
Yes. So when we're dealing with the hammering through the bedrock issue, how do you deal with the drainage on that? Because essentially you're creating a huge pool, like when we go to dig our foundations out here. It's like
you fill it with cement.
Okay, so cement. So now we're talking about this bunker.
We've turned that rock back into rock.
Okay, so that makes sense. So now it's totally watershed and probably gives you a little armor protection too, like not getting crazy or telling any state secrets. But
sure.
Are these bunkers rated to take, say, a drone attack or something of that nature?
Residential shelters don't need such. You need to be worried about civil unrest, things like that.
Yeah.
If you were by chance a military target, you would be in a military shelter somewhere.
Now, is there any way to upgrade your bunkers to almost a military standard? I mean, irregardless of cost,
No, absolutely. But let me tell you this: the reason you see, you hear about the government's shelters and the military shelters deep down inside of mountains, is because they're letting the mountains do the work for them. Their level of protection came from all that mass of earth around them.
That is correct. You're talking about NORAD up there, Cheyenne Mountain.
Yep. That's right.
That is yes. I mean, my concern is that as the world order is changing due to geopolitical situation out there, we're going to face a threat from China unlike any threat we have ever faced as a nation. And that's why I specifically said the drones, because we know that the Chinese have drone technologies. And I think that they would actually use those forces against civilian targets. And that's why I was praying and thank Jesus that you answered my prayers by saying that, yes, indeed, you can offer military grade protection for us common citizens.
Absolutely. It's just the cost is astronomical.
Yes, but people, you'll be shocked. You'd be shocked. People can pull that bottom dollar out of the rabbit in the hat like a magician when it's time to protect family. I have 6 people in my household, and sir, I would do nothing within legal reasons to protect them from all threats.
Right. People don't understand when I tell them that your neighbor will kill you for a can of pork and beans. They don't understand what I'm saying. And let me say this: no one on this planet that I know of would sit in a house with no food and literally watch their children starve to death before they would do whatever means necessary to feed them.
That is true. That is 100% true. Man.
Now, I'm throwing that can of pork and beans a little over the top, but if you stop and think about it, and just think about it for a second, it's really not over the top at all. It's absolute truth.
I mean, I'm like I said, I live 45 minutes outside of St. Louis. I'm in a relatively rural area. All of our neighbors are good folks. Very small town.
As long as they're not hungry, they are.
You got that right. You got that right. But my concern would be the hordes coming out of major, I guess, cities or suburb situations.
Well, here's what you got to understand, though. Especially in an area like St. Louis, you've got 360 degrees for them to go. You see what I'm saying? In other words, and people are going to tend to go to areas they're more familiar with. In other words, you got a guy that lives up in the northern side of St. Louis. Maybe across the river. He's not necessarily going to cross that river and come south and come to you if you don't know anything about that area.
Correct.
So people are going to tend to congregate in the direction that they're from and the direction they know. So, I don't know what the population is in St. Louis. So let's just say it's a couple million people in St. Louis.
No, definitely in the metropolitan area. The city itself is like 300,000. That's from poor city management, Democrat-run city. But the rest of the area, it's mostly out in the suburbs where you're going to find the greater.
Right, but what I'm getting at is not everybody in that city is headed south.
They better not. I got a 30-30 waiting on them. I'm joking, folks. I'm joking.
But here's the problem, though. They're coming with their 30-30. I hear a lot of people say, well, I live out in the country, and there's deer. I got plenty of deer and ducks and geese.
Yes, we do.
And, squirrels to eat. Well, there sure is. But look at it this way. Think about everybody else. You go getting. I mean, it's bad enough in deer season, finding deer.
Yes.
Wait until everybody's hunting.
Oh my God, I didn't even really think about that aspect. A poor boy that never even shot a gun out there trying to kill something, shooting.
Not only that, but wait until they do kill something. It ain't but just a little while. There ain't nothing left to shoot.
Yeah, you will be shot out. Yes, unfortunately. Oh.
And scarce.
This is why this bunker is so critical. I mean, I'm so sorry for my listeners. I should have had Clyde on 2 years ago. I should have had you on years ago pumping this product to people, because that would have been more families that could have been saved. I just fearful that time's running out. Clyde, impromptu, could you please give us your phone number and a website that people can reach out to you, and maybe we can get some orders placed?
Sure. It's the website is www.rising, just like rising bread, S like Sam, bunkers.com. Or you can Google Rising S Bunkers or Underground Bunkers, and you'll find us. The website, there's a contact us section on the website. There's a phone number for myself, phone number for Gary, as well as, email addresses for contact.
I mean, I know
No reason to be able to get hold of us.
we've been kind of flippant or a little bit of comedy with this topic, but it really is extremely serious, folks.
It is.
Um, but we have to have a bit of humor with this. You know, Claude, I have
Absolutely.
a lot of survival buddies, and I have one that lives out in high deserts out there in the Sierra Nevada region, and he said, you know, the rule of thumb, Patrick, is that you got to be 3 days outside of a populated area. For a person to walk to my area, by the time they get there, they'll be almost dehydrated. Now, I don't have that. I live around a lot of lakes and rivers and streams. So I guess for the majority of us, if we don't have 3 days of distance from major populated systems or cities, then these bunkers could quite literally be our Noah's Ark.
Well, see, here's what you got to remember is like me, I'm an hour outside of the major, the hour and 5 minutes or so outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth area where I live. But it's continuous town after town after town.
Mm.
So I might as well be in the city. What he's telling you is there needs to be 3 days between you and any town of any size, not town to town to town. In other words, it ain't like, you know, if you're 3 days from Reno, yeah, but you know, if you're talking, you know, they walk through Truckee, California, walk through Susanville, California, walk through this, you know, to get to that, then you might as well have been in Reno yourself.
I see what you're saying. It's like it's not going to offset. It's like the farther out you go, you
Right.
still have
Right. They have a supply chain along the way.
right. So really, I mean, there's no way around it. We have to, if we want to survive this thing. Now, if you want to be a victim, if you want to rely on FEMA, God help you. If you want to rely on the federal or even maybe even your state or county governments, you are quite literally putting your family at risk unnecessarily. Now,
Right. Absolutely correct.
if it ever got that bad, um, is the government able to have like a list of your bunker? Like, I'm assuming as you're putting in the bunker, you still have to consort with the local code enforcement agencies.
Absolutely not.
What? You don't have to do
I
it.
don't recommend anybody tell. I mean, let me tell you this: there are certain situations where you're just not going to get away with it.
Okay. Subdivision.
But I mean, right, yeah. If you have a HOA, you got no. I went and installed one on rural property in Washington State. Obviously, we didn't get a permit for it. You know, they had, I don't know, 23 acres or something. Their neighbor literally walked down their driveway and asked my guys what they were doing. My guys directed them to the homeowner. You know, they don't tell them anything. And the homeowner got irate with them and told them to go and just get off the property. Wasn't welcome there. This guy walked past a no trespassing sign. They contacted the local building authority, and make a long story short, they ended up permitting the shelter.
Yes, victory. Yes.
But that being said, you know, some places, you know, you get into places like, you know, where people have a liberal thinking mentality.
Yes.
And you have to worry about them getting your nose in their business.
Exactly.
Their nose in your business. You know, where, you know, the good old breadbasket of the United States, you know, people are like, you know what? I hear some tractors over there, but I don't even care. You know, they don't care.
Well, isn't one
they can look out their living room window and see, oh, Charlie over there doing something over at his place. I hope he don't knock my big pine tree down over there. Well, it looks like he's got it. All right. You know, I mean, that's just, you know, that's how it is in, you know, with people with common sense. They don't care what you're doing because it's not affecting them.
Yes. It's none of my business. It's none of my,
right.
You could be making a water park over there, Clyde.
That being said, I've got shelters in the city of Chicago, inside the city of Chicago, with a permit. Chicago proper.
Wow. I heard they're hell to work with in codes.
You know, the guy that I put it in for told me that there was some sleight of hand and some envelopes passed around.
Yep. That's about it. Listen, now, you know what? This is what our show, Every Democratic controlled city is just like that, corrupt to the hill. If you want to do business in any of them, Baltimore, Chicago, St. Louis, San Francisco, whatever, you had better show up to town with a satchel full of money, or else you're not
Yep.
getting nowhere.
And a fresh box of envelopes.
If that don't work, you better have a bunch of prostitutes and drugs with you. That tends to work with these corrupt.
That being said, we've got a lot of shelters in the ground in places that probably should have had a permit, or definitely should have had a permit, but we got by with it just from just sly tactics. A large portion of our customers, live or own rural property.
Yes.
And you got some privacy, so we'll do things like nighttime delivery, things like that, get the shelter into the property, and then it's
then it's up to you to maintain secrecy.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
That's right. And then we'll put up signs. Like I'll put a sign up that says, I did one in Colorado over there. He had some property, but he didn't have any trees. He lived up in the high desert there in Colorado. But I put up a sign down at the end of the driveway. It was a long way down there, but it was Creative Septic Solutions.
And
had my phone number on it. And his neighbors, he had a couple of neighbors, and I know they had to be his neighbors because it's calling from the same area code,
Mm-hmm.
But they call and want to know about Creative Septic Systems. So I told them all about Creative Septic Systems.
You see, one of the things I know about bunkers, the key to the bunker is it's being stealth. It's the fact that you don't even know it's there, right? Isn't that the first line of the defense?
That's right.
All right. Now,
you want to hide it. You have a lot of people that say, and you go on my website and you'll look, and you'll see these hatch doors out in the middle of dirt, and you'll see these vents and these pipes sticking up. People think, well, that ain't hidden. Well, you're exactly right. It's not. But I'm not going to show you any photos of it after it's hidden.
There it is.
A lot of times, I'll only direct my clients on what they should do. That way, I don't even know.
That's what I'm talking. This is, I think, the most important cornerstone to the whole thing. It has to be about secrecy. We have our National Security Act for a reason. Some things are to be secret. And that's why
Absolutely.
I was concerned about the code enforcement, because they get their nose, and that's common public knowledge at that point.
Absolutely.
So, I don't want people to be sticker shocked, but could you give us some pricing, just basic, from like just a generic little, maybe 4-family deal to something massive that you can, maybe have a couple of families in?
Let me tell you this. Let me start by saying that the prices you'll find on our website, if you go to the risingbunkers.com website, up at the top, matter of fact, let me go to it so I make sure I'm directing people to the right way. There is a little tab that says Home, Bunker Videos, About Us, and then Bunkers. You hover over Bunkers, down you'll see our floor plans. You'll see bomb shelter pricing and floor plans. You just go click on that. That will take you to the designs. Now, these shelter designs all of them start with just the price of the shelter. Installation and delivery is going to be in addition to, because, I can't guess at what we're going to have to do. So, for instance, this guy, say that our mini bunkers, a 2-person economy shelters, made to sit in a backyard of an urban area, which was one of the ones we put in Chicago, is $39,500. Now, if I'm putting it in somebody, that's got 100 acres, 20 miles down the road, I can do that a lot cheaper than I can go to Chicago, 1,000 miles away, and put it in the backyard of an alley with overhead power lines. So, but that being said, that $39,500 is a 2-person economy shelter. I can fit 3. They're kind of some bunk style sleeping. We can put a stack of 3 bunks in there. It's really designed for 2, but 3 will fit. Wow. Then it goes up from there. There's no such thing as the largest one that we offer, because I'll build whatever you want. You can look on our homepage, you'll see a 6,000 square foot ultra bunker.
Wow.
And I've built shelters, larger than 6,000 square feet. Um,
That's
but we've
bigger
got
than
one
many
there
people's
that we
homes.
delivered
I,
last year for the client, and there's a good video walkthrough. It's got an underground shooting range, got 1,000 square foot greenhouse. I mean, it's really, it's got a 500 square foot gym. It's really a nice shelter.
you're talking
That
about
one's,
$1
in
million.
the, $3 million range.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, oh my God, this is 6,000. I build homes. I'm a carpenter. That's what I do. And 6,000 square foot is a tremendous space. Tremendous. And especially with all the amenities. Um, Now, when we're dealing with the bunker itself, the capabilities, is there any way to put special lights in there to give you the sensation of being, above ground still? Because a lot of times when you talk with people who have bunkers, the drawback that they'll say that sometimes it feels a little, claustrophobic.
Now, I don't want anybody to pull my man card or anything when I say this, but I went for a pedicure with my wife. And while we were in there, I looked around, and everybody there. They got masks on. Even back then, this has been a couple years ago. Them people in there, they're wearing masks even then. But but I get, I'm sitting back there, feet getting rubbed, looking up, and I noticed that they've got these looks like skylights, but they're not. They're panels that go in ceilings that have different scenery.
Oh,
And then I noticed they've got them on the wall too. Some of these things look like pictures. I mean, not pictures, but window frames. So you can actually everybody's seen those little picture frames that you put on a desk that changes.
yeah.
Put your SD card in, it rotates. Same concept. You can put one of these things on the wall, or you can put it on the ceiling, and have whatever you want showing on it.
Wow. So that gives you the illusion or sensation of being above ground.
Right. And I know some people out there who are going to listen to this thing, and I'm way too smart for that. Well, no, you're not.
Everybody can be
You're not.
hypnotized.
You're just not. If you just allow yourself to not think about it for a moment.
Mm. One thing I want to ask about is as far as heating and cooling. Your bunkers, because they're underground, does not require heating and cooling, correct?
Yes and no. Yes, they don't require an HVAC system. The hottest shelter I've ever seen was Shreveport, Louisiana, at 78 degrees. I've got them in the deserts of Arizona. I've got them in West Texas. I got them all over the place. And the hottest one I've ever seen is Shreveport, or actually just a little south of Shreveport. It's 78 degrees in that shelter.
Wow. I mean, that's still kind of comfortable, but that's still a little warm.
It is a little warm, but you got to remember, 78 in the sunlight, you got a good sweat coming.
Mm-hmm.
78 in the shade, well, now it ain't bad. But now take a little fan and put on. So 78 under a tree with the wind blowing,
Oh, that's
you're going to be hunting
nice.
that long sleeve shirt.
That's nice. That's good weather there. I mean, and especially like we're just finally finishing up winter. Now, I'm assuming the concrete and the dirt is going to insulate you in the winter. Like, say, if we were in Minneapolis or Minnesota or maybe Idaho or somewhere like that, where they have some
Huh?
pretty harsh winters. The temperature's not right or dropping down there, is it?
It will drop. Insulation only changes only affects the rate at which the ground does change temperature.
Gotcha.
So basically, it's going to take longer to get cold or longer to get warm. But that being said, heating is done a lot simpler than the cooling process.
Correct. Because you're only rising it from wherever you're at to where you need to go versus if you was above ground and you had like the air hitting you constantly, you have to go from 0 up to say 68 versus in the shelter. I bet you will probably never reach freezing even if you didn't have heat in there. So you're probably going from
Right.
like 45, maybe 50 to 68 or 75, however hot you want to get it in there. So
Right.
what about when we talk about civil arrest? Without giving up any secrets, as long as, like, let's say that your bunker opening got detected, the primary opening, hopefully there's a secondary opening or escape hatch somewhere. Is there any type of, I guess, built-in um, containment situations that will stop people from physically getting into you?
What do you mean?
Like how strong is the doors rated, or the blast door at the very top? Can you somehow latch that from the inside? So even if I did detect your hatch, I can't open it.
Yeah. Let me tell you this. I don't put a lot of. I don't put a lot. I build a blast hatch above ground.
Okay.
I don't put a lot of stock in an above ground hatch like that because if I'm a guy that's doing this ill tempered and doing out to do harm,
Mm-hmm.
then then I'm not beyond doing any means to get inside of the shelter. So let's just say I got a pickup and I got a chain. I'll wrap around even the strongest hatch you can get. I'll wrap a chain around it and open it with a pickup.
Yeah. Yeah, you get that.
So I like putting my level of security at the bottom of the stairs. That way you come down there and you go to cutting on my door.
Mm-hmm.
You take the chance of me opening that door up, and there you stand with a saw in your hand, a metal saw in your hand, and here I am with a 45. That's where I like my level of security to come from. I like for you to have to come to my front door
and deal with it right. That really does make tactical sense. Like you said, you get a pickup, you can rip that dude off, but you still got to go down those steps. You still got to go down there and deal with that bottom hatch. Now, is there what about like telecommunications? Are you restricted to mainly a phone or like a landline situation?
No. Anything that you can run inside your house, we can run inside of the shelter.
So you have cable, TV, all that. If you might even have it as a guest room.
Absolutely.
Wow, this I know we've been on here for 30 minutes. And normally I go for like an hour, but typically I have it planned out. This has been totally off the cuff, folks. I literally called up Clyde just now. Literally, this is the first time we ever talked ever in the world. It's just been a great conversation because these things have been on my mind ever since we've been getting the lockdown, ever since it's been really apparent that, because our government chooses to not work hand in hand with the White House for whatever reason, we having breakdowns in the systems, and it's going to affect us personally. And I thank super patriots like Clyde out there that took it upon himself, because he didn't have to make a company, folks. He was down there in Texas. He has his own money, has property, his family. He could have been like, you know what? I got my bunkers in. The rest of you guys figure it out. But he actually puts his money, because don't forget, each time he goes out there to put in a bunker, there's liability. The person that you're working for could be a slip and fall artist. So there's a lot of risk in doing these things. It's just not that simple. And, Clyde, this going out here, do you got any thing you want to add to it? Hopefully you'll come back and we can sit and talk more. But anything you want to share with us on the way out?
Not everybody can afford a shelter. That's unfortunate. Nothing I can do about that. We build the most economically designed shelter in the world. Shelters had even 10 years ago, or 15, about 12 years, 13 years ago, whatever it was, we built our first actual underground real bunker to the design that we were. Shelters were higher in cost then than what they are now. We made the market competitive. And got it down where they were more affordable, even though, $40,000, might as well be, $40 million to some people. And I understand that, but, that's unfortunate. But for those that can't afford a shelter, it's not an excuse to not have a plan in place.
Yes.
That's the first place you start, is with a plan. So don't say, well, I'll get a shelter someday and then we'll put a plan together. No, you're doing it all backwards. First thing you need to do is get a plan together and then work on that plan. And if the shelter is in that plan, then when you get to that obstacle, if you can get it, you can get it. If you can't, then everything else is all tied up in your plan.
Yes. Definitely have a plan, folks. Because I'm telling you right now, and I hate to say this, because I love our nation. I love the idea of freedom. I love the idea of worshiping my God. I love the idea of raising my family the way I see fit. Those ideals are only upheld if patriots and citizens are willing to fight to keep it that way. And as you see with this coronavirus and the loss of our manufacturing capability, we had to beg the Chinese for some masks. And that's a shame in this nation of plenty. You know, Clyde Lee, going out, I just want to tell everybody, please check out his website, www.risings.com. Is that correct?
No, it's risingsbunkers.com.
Yes, Rising
or
S.
risingscompany.com. They both take you to the same place.
Rising S Company or risingsbunker.com. Please, folks, for your family, for your grandchildren, for your children, and your sake, please give Clyde a call, and maybe you can work with, $3,200 or $3,500 isn't that much. Taxes are coming back, so really there's no excuse. Maybe you get a couple of the two bangers in. Put one in this year and put one in later on this year. But protect your family. And, I just want to say, bless you. Bless you, Clyde. Bless your company. Bless your family. And thank you for helping armor this nation.
Thank you for the call.
All righty. Talk to you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye. Well, everybody, that will end TPIM SR Live. I know that this has been a different show, but y'all, if we don't armor up, we're doomed. So live your life of integrity without hate, envy, or greed. And as always, brothers and sisters, please, 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 let's try to be kinder to each other. Peace and power, unity and victory, dignity and respect, liberation. I'm out.